Sinai the wrong assumption. EXT, downtown city street, early morning. The sun rises sluggishly behind tall buildings, casting elongated shadows across the pavement. Car horns echo from every corner, steam curls from manholes, commuters hustle past food carts, clutching coffee cups and tired ambition. A solitary figure stands just outside the downtown police precinct, a modern gray brick building with mirrored glass and a fluttering flag above its arched entrance. James R. Daniels, a black man in his late 40s, well-groomed and dressed in a clean navy blue sport coat over a charcoal shirt and slacks, stands near the curb. One hand casually rests in his pocket, the other holds his phone, screen dim, rideshare app open. He's calm, observant, still. Just then, Officer Brent Keller, a white man in his 30s, exits the precinct with a half-eaten breakfast burrito and an oversized sense of authority. He squints at the sun, then notices James standing alone. Keller slows his walk, eyes narrowing with suspicion. Keller. Chewing. Morning. James. Nods. Morning. Keller. You waiting on someone? James. A car. Should be here any second. Keller. Grins, not friendly. This isn't a taxi stand. And this is a police building, not a park bench. James. I'm not sitting. Keller. Smirks. You got ID? James blinks, confused by the sudden shift. James. Excuse me? Keller. You heard me. Let's see your ID. James. I'm just waiting for a ride. I haven't done anything. Keller. And I'm doing my job. I asked a simple question. A couple of passers-by glance over, sensing tension. James feels the air shift. He stays calm, but his heart begins to thud harder in his chest. James. Still composed. Officer, I haven't violated any law. I'm standing on public sidewalk. I don't need to show ID unless I'm being detained. Keller. Flatly. You are being detained. James. On edge, measured. On what grounds? Keller. Loitering. Suspicious behavior. Standing too close to a government building without reason. You tell me. A moment of silence stretches thin. James straightens, trying to assess whether to stand his ground or de-escalate. The temptation to argue wars with something deeper, experience. He knows how this usually ends for men who look like him. James. Slowly. You're making a mistake. Keller. You'll have a chance to say that downtown. Without another word, Keller steps forward, seizing James by the wrist. A metallic click slices through the air, handcuffs lock into place. A woman walking by stops, eyes wide. Woman OS. He didn't do anything. Keller. Move along, ma'am. Official business. James doesn't resist. He simply looks at Keller, level, calm. There's no fear, only a strange stillness in his gaze, like a lion watching a lesser predator gnaw at its own tail. James, VO. They never ask who you are. Just what you look like. In their eyes, that's enough. A black SUV slowly rolls past in the background, tinted windows, city seal on the side, but Keller doesn't notice. The sirens of a patrol car wail faintly in the distance. James? You really don't know who I am, do you? Keller scoffs. Keller. I know exactly what you are. James quietly. No. No, you don't. Keller tightens the grip on the cuffs. Keller. Let's go. They walk up the steps of the precinct, James in cuffs, head high. As the glass doors part, a gust of cold, conditioned air hits them. James steps inside, leaving the sun and his dignity behind. Scene 2, silent authority. Int. Police station, processing room, morning. The heavy glass doors swing open with a clang behind them. The fluorescent lighting inside the precinct buzzes faintly, casting a sterile, unwelcoming glow on the scuffed linoleum floors and bulletin boards cluttered with warnings, faces, and missing posters. James is ushered through the reception area, his hands still cuffed, his composure unchanged. A few officers at desks look up momentarily, then return to typing or sipping lukewarm coffee. No one asks questions. Just another day. Just another black man being led in through the front door in cuffs. Keller, now a bit puffed with self-righteousness, nudges James forward with a firm hand. Keller. Right this way, sidewalk philosopher. James doesn't respond. His eyes scan the room. The layout. The exits. The people. His posture is tall, shoulders relaxed. Observing, not resisting. Int. Holding area, fingerprint station, moments later. A large desk separates the officers from the suspects. A fingerprint scanner sits beside a clunky monitor, its screen smudged and blinking. Keller pushes James gently toward the scanner. Keller. Hands. James complies wordlessly, laying his palms down as the scanner hums to life. On-screen, scanning. Scanning. A beat. Then no match found. Keller. What the hell? He tries again. The same result. Keller. Must be a glitch. Name? James. James Daniels. Keller. Middle name? James. R. Keller turns to another officer, older, stockier, with a southern drawl, Sergeant Rowley. Keller. Got nothing on his Prince Rowley. Even the name doesn't pull a record. SGT Rowley. Probably fake. These guys know how to scrub their stuff. You're lucky he didn't bolt. James stands silently. Keller. You sure that's your name? James. You already scanned me. Would you prefer I lie? Sergeant Rowley chuckles mockingly. SGT Rowley. Careful with the sarcasm. It's only funny when we use it. Keller leans in. Keller. You got warrants in another state? You running? James. No. Keller. Then why the ghost file? Why not just cooperate from the start? James. I am cooperating. You just didn't ask the right questions. SGT Rowley. All right, let's toss him in holding. I'll call IT, see if our system's acting up. Keller. Nah, wait. Let me try one more thing. He begins typing furiously, inputting data manually. The system chokes, buffers, and once again returns no match. Officer Rivera, a young Latino officer in his 20s, watches from a desk nearby. He's been silent, but his eyes haven't left James. Rivera notices something, the stillness, the poise, the restraint. James doesn't twitch, flinch, or sweat. He isn't scared. He isn't confused. He's evaluating. Rivera leans toward Keller. Officer Rivera. Hey man, this guy doesn't feel like some street pickup. Something's off. Keller. Scoffing. You kidding? Look where we found him. Officer Rivera. No, I mean look at him. He's too calm. Like he's in control. SGT Rowley. Snickers. Maybe he's just been through this before. James finally speaks again. Calm. Quiet. Directed at no one and everyone. James. I'd like to make a call. Keller. This isn't a hotel lobby. James. You'll want me to. I assure you. SGT Rowley. Oh yeah? Who you calling your lawyer? James. No. City Hall. Silence. Keller blinks. Keller. City Hall? James. Yes. The Department of Public Safety. If someone there picks up, things might make a little more sense. Officer Rivera. Staring at James. You work for them? James holds his gaze. James. Something like that. Keller hesitates, then looks toward Rowley. Keller. We let him call, and what? He starts playing games? James. You're already in one. Keller steps forward, his voice tightening. Keller. You threatening me? James. No. I'm giving you a chance to correct your mistake before others arrive and make it official. A long pause. Rivera's brow furrows. The weight in James's words isn't arrogance. It's certainty. Officer Rivera. Slowly. Let him call. SGT Rowley. To Keller, annoyed. Hell, let him. Who cares? Clock's ticking, maybe we get a hit later. Keller pulls out the station phone, slams it on the desk. Keller. Be my guest. James steps forward. Takes the receiver gently. Dials from memory. Each beep echoes in the silent room. He waits. Then. James. Into phone. Good morning. This is James R. Daniels. Badge clearance 379. I need to speak with Deputy Director Reese. Yes. I'll hold. The officers freeze. Rivera slowly sits back in his chair, eyes widening. Keller shifts uncomfortably. James VO. They assumed I was nobody because I didn't raise my voice. Because I didn't run. Because I looked like the others they've dragged through here. A beat. Then James speaks again, voice steady. James. Tell him I'm calling from the 9th precinct in handcuffs. He meets Keller's gaze as the line crackles with urgency on the other end. Scene 3. The reveal. XT. 9th precinct parking lot. Late morning. The sky has shifted. What was a golden morning now hangs under a tense, gray overcast, as if the weather itself is holding its breath. The parking lot outside the precinct hums with low city noise. Tires rolling over asphalt. Radios crackling from cruisers. A siren in the distance. Then, silence. A sleek black SUV. Tinted windows. Official seal barely visible beneath the dust. Glides into the lot like a ghost. Its engine cuts out with precision. The doors click open simultaneously. 2 figures step out. Deputy Director Reese, a composed black woman in a tailored city government blazer and sharp heels, and Liaison Marcus Levy, a white man in a slate gray suit, clutching a leather folder with the city seal. Both stride toward the front of the precinct, purpose in every step. Officers inside glance up through the windows and then start moving. In police station, front desk area, continuous. The air inside thickens as tension creeps through every corner. James is seated to the side now, hands still cuffed in front of him. He waits, silent and upright, as though he's been here before, not as a suspect, but as a teacher letting his students fail the test. Officer Keller stands behind the desk, pacing slightly, trying to make sense of what just happened. Sergeant Rowley is in the back room, yelling into a phone about IT systems and ID mismatches. Suddenly, the double doors swing open. Reese and Levy enter, not like visitors but like supervisors doing an inspection. Reese, where is he? Everyone turns. No greetings. No questions. Reese, sharper. Where is James R. Daniels? James lifts his chin slightly but doesn't speak. Levy's eyes lock on him immediately. Levy, there. That's him. Reese's face hardens when she sees the cuffs. Reese, to Keller. Remove them. Now. Keller stumbles over his own breath. Keller. Wait, I was just following protocol. He wasn't ID'd in the system, he was… Reese. Remove the cuffs. Keller hesitates, then obeys. The click of metal unfastening echoes like a rifle shot in the dead silence. James stands slowly, adjusting the sleeves of his jacket. He doesn't gloat, doesn't smile, just exhales, the first real breath he's taken since morning. Keller. Quietly to Reese. I didn't know who he was. Reese. That's exactly the problem. She turns to James, her tone immediately respectful. Reese. Sir. We apologize for the delay. The mayor has been informed. The chief's office has already issued a formal report. A ripple goes through the room. The word hangs midair. Chief. James, calmly. That won't be necessary, Director. I plan to write my own. A few officers in the room glance at each other in disbelief. Keller. Sir. Tries to salvage. I just thought you were loitering. You didn't have your badge visible and you didn't say you were who you were. James finally turns toward him fully. James. I didn't need to, because being a black man, standing on a sidewalk, waiting for a car, shouldn't be suspicious. Keller opens his mouth, then closes it. James, you didn't see a man. You saw a profile, a shape, a threat. He steps forward, not aggressive, but solid, centered, unshakable. James, conted. And you decided, without cause or conversation, that I belonged in handcuffs. Officer Rivera, who's been watching in quiet discomfort, shifts his weight. James, to the room. Let me be clear. This isn't just about me. This is about every name you never ran. Every person you never let finish a sentence. Every time judgment replaced justice. Silence. The fluorescent lights buzz. The room doesn't breathe. James walks toward the center of the lobby. All eyes on him. Reese softly, but firm. Everyone, allow me to introduce the newly appointed chief of police for this city, Mr. James R. Daniels. A long, stunned pause. Even Rowley, who's returned from the back, freezes mid-step. James scans the room one last time, then calmly says, James, I'll be back at noon for a staff meeting. I expect all shift leads in attendance. And Officer Keller, bring your field report. We'll use it as a case study. He turns toward the exit. Rivera steps back, almost instinctively holding the door open as James walks out. The camera lingers on Keller's face, pale, stunned, lost, then slowly tilts up to the glass front doors swinging shut behind the new chief. Scene 4, Reversal of Power. Int. Briefing room, 9th Precinct, noon. The walls are pale and institutional. A long wooden table stands in the center, lined with mismatched chairs. A mounted TV flickers silently in the background, paused on frozen surveillance footage from earlier that morning. James, in cuffs, being led through the lobby. The room is filled with officers now, all shift leads and watch commanders seated in rigid postures. The air is heavy still. The only sound, the soft hum of a wall-mounted AC unit pushing out cold air like judgment. James R. Daniels stands at the head of the table. No longer cuffed, no longer silent. Now fully chief of police and in complete control. He's changed into a black dress shirt with a silver tie. His badge is now pinned over his heart. His voice is calm, but behind the calm is something cutting, not rage, but deep, righteous disappointment. James, roll the footage. The TV screen comes to life. Everyone watches, again, the moment where James is approached, questioned, cuffed. The angle from the lobby camera is high and distant, but the tone of Keller's posture is unmistakable. A few officers exchange quiet glances. Some shift uncomfortably. In the corner, Officer Keller sits with his head slightly bowed. He looks smaller now, paler. like someone waiting for a verdict. James picks up a small remote, pauses the footage just as the cuffs are locked around his wrists. James, you all watched this once. Now you'll watch it with me. A long beat. James counted. What do you see? No one answers. James firmly. Say it. Someone. Lieutenant Morales, mid-50s, experienced and weary, clears his throat. Morales. An arrest, possibly premature. James. Premature? He walks slowly to the screen. James. I was standing still, waiting for a car. Not yelling. Not trespassing. Not armed. Yet somehow that warranted an officer's hand on my back. He turns to face the room. James counted. Now ask yourself, why? The silence grows teeth. He clicks again. The image shifts, this time from the holding area camera showing him seated silently while Keller types furiously at the terminal. James, why didn't anyone stop and ask why I was here? Why didn't anyone check with HQ when the system showed no record? Why didn't anyone ask a single reasonable question? He walks slowly toward the far wall where a printed mission statement of the department is framed in polished glass. He reads it aloud. James, to serve with fairness, integrity, and accountability. His voice drops. James counted. Not suspicion. Not assumption. Not humiliation. He turns facing the room again. James calm but heavy. You didn't fail because you arrested me. You failed because you arrested anyone like that. Keller. Quietly. Sir, I didn't know. I didn't recognize you. James walks to him now. The room is silent, breaths held. James? And what if I wasn't me? That hits like a hammer. James counted. What if it were someone else, someone without a badge? Someone who couldn't call City Hall? What would have happened to them? Keller doesn't answer. His hands tremble slightly in his lap. James to the room. This is about a system that treats presence like provocation. Skin tone like threat. Silence like guilt. His voice is steel now. James counted. And I will not run a precinct where that's accepted. Not one more day. He lets it hang. A few officers nod subtly. Rivera, seated near the back, looks up, his expression conflicted but slowly shifting toward respect. James, reform isn't a memo. It's not a workshop. It's this. Right here. Owning it. Changing it. He clicks the remote again. The screen turns off. Black. Reflective. In that moment, every officer sees themselves staring back. James walks to the door, pauses. James, I'll be in my office. Starting tomorrow, I'll meet with each of you, one by one. Bring your conscience. Not your excuses. He exits. The room remains silent, still processing the aftershock. Keller stays seated, hands folded tightly. His jaw clenched. His eyes glassy, not with tears, but with the crushing weight of recognition. Scene V, the standard we set. EXT, 9th Precinct, front steps, late afternoon. The sky has cracked open into pale gold and dusky blue. The long shadows of city buildings stretch across the concrete like reaching fingers. The front of the 9th Precinct now buzzes with controlled chaos. A small press corps has assembled, their lenses trained on the entrance, microphones clipped with station logos trembling slightly in the breeze. The city seal glints above the door. On the wall, freshly mounted, a new placard. Chief of Police, James R. Daniels. Inside, just beyond the glass, James stands for a moment looking out. He watches the media swarm, the flashes, the unspoken questions hanging in the air like static. He breathes in deep. He is not angry. He is anchored. A uniformed officer nods to him from the side. The doors part automatically with a hiss. EXT Precinct stares continuous. James steps into the open, the late sun catching the edges of his silver tie and the polished badge over his heart. The crowd of reporters moves forward like a tide, microphones thrust out like blades. Reporter 1. Chief Daniels, is it true you were detained this morning by your own officers? Reporter 2. Was it racial profiling? Reporter 3. What action will you be taking against the officers involved? James raises a hand not to silence but to center. James, let me speak. The noise hushes immediately, all mics and eyes on him. He steps one level higher on the steps, just above the crowd. The city sounds soften. The wind shifts. James firmly. Yes. I was detained this morning. Flash. Click. Flash. James counted. I was handcuffed. Questioned. Searched. Flash. A boom mic creaks overhead. James counted. And not once did anyone ask who I was, only why I was there. He pauses, scanning the faces before him. James lower but sharper. I was detained not for something I did, but for something I was perceived to be. A murmur moves through the reporters. James, today it was me. Tomorrow it could be someone without the title, without the platform, without the power to speak up. He lets the truth settle like thunder. James counted. And I will never allow that to become the standard in this department. Flash. Flash. James calm but unyielding. This uniform, this badge, it must represent protection, not fear. It must begin with respect. For all people. Of all walks. At all times. He lowers his voice slightly, but the conviction only deepens. James, reform isn't a slogan. It's accountability. It's action. It's culture. And that begins today. A silence follows. Not awkward, but reverent. Even the reporters seem to pause their instinct for follow-ups, sensing the gravity of the moment. One final flashbulb pops. James nods once, signaling the end. He turns. As he climbs the stairs back into the building, a gust of wind lifts the corner of his coat. His silhouette cuts against the sky, not triumphant, but resolute. The doors slide shut behind him with a soft mechanical sigh. The camera lingers on the polished nameplate, now catching the full force of the sun. Chief of Police, James R. Daniels. Cut to the press, silent, thoughtful. Cut to the glass, empty now. Then, true justice begins when we choose to see beyond assumptions. Inspired by countless untold stories.